Actually, I am originally from Cuba. I graduated in 2007. It was like a long time ago, uh, and I did visual communication in undergrad. And then when I graduate, one of the things is I had the chance to choose between going into graphic design, into more visual communication, and going into industrial design. I always like, I was this kind of kids that I was so curious. I like breaking things apart. When I was 10, I was like putting the VCR video like player apart and then cleaning it and doing those kind of things. And then in 2013, when I came to the US, well, it was pretty much starting over. And one of the first jobs that I had was at a print shop. Right, my job basically was as a designer, just doing promotionals for small businesses. But I was so interested in the technology and in the how to actually do the printing process. And sometimes we did like banners and posters, but sometimes we had to do installations in Windows. So that was so much fun to me. So I kind of like started to go down that road. And then finally, I felt that my career needed a boost. So I decided to go to grad school. I got into Parsons, and one of the reasons why I chose design and technology was because it was so broad. You pretty much were able to choose whatever you wanted to do in your degree. So I took a lot of coding classes, but I also took a lot of physical computing, working with sensors, soldering, doing different things. Some of the projects that I did, I remember one semester, my final project was this case. I took a suitcase and then I ripped apart a computer and I put it as part of the suitcase. And it was a lot of building embedded into that. And then when I went into Cornell Tech, originally I thought it was going to be more product design, more just like UX UI, helping different startups to create their MVPs. But ultimately, I was introduced to the MakerLAB, and I met you, as you know. Um, and then I got fascinated with the possibilities around 3D printing and kind of like doing more of what I was doing before. In general, I definitely like, I'm still a very, very handy person. So I do it as my hobby. I do different things. I like drawing is one of my big things, but I like fixing things, upscaling things, recycling, doing some DIY. So it's something that I definitely have been practicing in my personal life. I specialize in digital products. So I do full time. I design applications, and I have specialized more in banking applications, those kind of things. Even though soon I'll be going into the video game industry. Um, but yeah, I have been focusing more in digital products professionally.
With the ease you can illustrate is remarkable.
Oh, thank you. So my dad is a cartoonist, and kind of that passion comes from there. When I had to choose a degree, I was very like, I'm not very good in math. I'm not good in. I felt I wasn't good in anything, and I was like, but I like drawing. So my mom introduced me to the possibility of becoming a designer, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is nice. I wasn't very sure what it was, but I knew I was going to get to draw a little bit. Illustration is a way that you can create whatever is in your head and actually use different techniques to tell stories. And something that I really appreciate and I like is this graphic humor. So it's something that I definitely have been trying to do in the past years. And we're going to have like an iPad that I have right now connected to the computer and the pencil. And this is not even the fanciest iPad. This is actually the first iPad that you were able to use with a pencil.
Okay. Have you experienced any of those moments when you are in a team, in a group, and because you can draw so easily, you can kind of take a lead in certain topics or discussions?
Well, the first thing that I want to point out is that everybody can draw.
Mm.
Like, uh, people just put limitations on their heads, thinking like, you know, this is not for me, or I don't have these skills. This is like any, I don't know, like an athlete. A person doesn't born an athlete. It's something that you have to actually practice, and everybody could become a good drawer by practicing. It requires years of masterization, and there are some people that are quicker and than others, but it doesn't mean that you cannot get there. So what you're seeing here is actually this tool named Procreate. Is this one over here? And I've used other tools. This one, especially, I've been working with it for the past year. I used to use, before I would use this one over here. These are Range Deluxe. And it's a really nice tool. It really allows you to get to a really high level of resolution and play with watercolors and those kind of things. What you see here is just a collection of some of the draws that I've done, especially during quarantine. I did um, this. It's like a movement naming Inktober, and you're supposed to do one draw every single day. So right now here, I've merged the layers, and they're all compact. So it's kind of like harder to see my process, because like the program, that's one of the limitations. Based on the memory that you have in your iPad, you have limited amount of layers, but if you get organized, you can get to a good result. On this one, you can see that I have like different layers, and I even like start by doing some sketching and those kind of things, and then I start to go in depth, and then ultimately I kind of like merge the things. So I feel I can give you a little bit of a demonstration of my process in general. I usually start with a new screen. The good thing about this is you can move it around and whatever you need to do. So you have infinity amount of tools, but I usually pick the same ones like I have in my favorites. So I would usually start just doing a little bit of like quick sketching. So for example, I just created first layer, and this layer is it's pretty much my layout. And then depending on what I want to do, sometimes I do more these draws with black lines around, and then I fill the colors. Sometimes I don't use black lines. I try to do more like planes and those kind of things. Uh, and with two fingers, you see that sometimes I hit back. That's just touching two fingers over the screen. I can go back and redo something. The order of the layers is definitely important, because you want to make sure that you have the components that you want on top, you have them on top. Um, and something just to kind of like, when you want to make it a little bit higher resolution in terms of like, you just want to give it more life and more details and those kind of things, you can simply start to work on the details of the drawing. So for example, let's say the hair, we're gonna give it a few hairs over here, those kind of things I mentioned. And there are other tools that I really, really like. For example, here you have this the noise brush, and you can come and, for example, in the face, I can create a new layer. I clip it inside, and then with a color that is a little bit darker, I can come and do some shades. Like you can come and like shade the face, and that definitely gives it more volume. So something you can do here really quickly is just select the layers that you have been working on. see, here I have all my layers, and you can just move them or scale them. Like if I want to make it a little bit smaller, those kind of things, you can quickly do it. It's just simply I come over here, I use this tool, which is like Fresco, and I come here. First, I give it like a sepia, a little bit of like yellowish background, sometimes a little like kind of off-white. And then I start to play around. I love yellow, so that would be kind of my first color. So it gives it a little bit of dimension.
This was a perfect Monday morning inspiration for me. I feel like now I can just draw anything. Thank you, Karla, so much.
You're welcome. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the whole file so you have it in a higher resolution.
No,
so yeah,
this was truly end-to-end digital tool for drawing, and this is great. Thank you, Karla, for sharing.
Sure. For the rec or Procreate is not paying me for